Hi for now, and welcome to the first Graticast of 2016. It's actually going to be about the end of 2015, which actually was kind of nerve-wracking and in places terrifying. It started really early for one thing, didn't it? It started at about 3:30 in the morning when we arrived at Memmingen Airport at 10 o'clock. It was in the perfect state of mind to learn how to drive on the right-hand side of the road.
Where we go?
It's supposed to be on the right, right?
Yes. Mouse.
I'm so glad it has like automatic lights and stuff. I don't have to think about too many things.
Only 100 metres out of the airport car park and we're done for speeding.
That's quite helpful. Look at that. The car's actually telling me.
Mouse!
120.
So our first thanks of New Year's Eve had to go to Car Hire Company 6 for providing us with a completely unexpected upgrade, giving us a car with all these fancy automatic features. Of course, when I've been planning the whole holiday, one of the things I didn't quite work on was the difference between our time of arrival and the time we were allowed to check in.
But it didn't really matter, as it gave us plenty of time to head over to the castle's complex and get our bearings.
It was as we approached the castles that we got our first shock of the day.
There it is!
Keep driving the car.
I'm sorry.
And when we got there, we had time to find a little cafe, which was our next big thanks of New Year's Eve.
We got hot chocolate there, our favourite beverage, and pretty much went back there every day for the same drink.
Which in their menu was listed as Healther Chocolade, which I think is great because it makes it sound like healthy chocolate. So then we went back to check in at our hotel. Before arriving, I'd managed to enlist the help of the manager in getting a reservation for a New Year's Eve dinner. He managed to get us into a fantastically stylish place. It's called like the Martini Lounge.
The fashion bar place,
Yeah.
La Strada.
La Strada, yeah, it's like this whole chain in...
Like 3 places merged into one.
We had a 5-course meal. We had a very accommodating waiter who's probably our 4th really big thanks of New Year's Eve.
Yes, he spoke lots of English and even helped us a bit with German, didn't he?
Yeah.
And your vegetarian food.
Yeah, he was just an all-out really nice guy. He even got me a refill of my wine glass on the house.
Don't worry, we gave him a very generous tip.
And after the meal, they were having fireworks to celebrate the arrival of 2016.
In the street.
Quite literally, in the street. About, what would you say, 2 meters away?
Yeah, 2 meters.
People were just sort of taking fireworks out of their pockets and lighting them and throwing them into the road.
There were some crates on the other side of the road that seemed a bit more official.
Some of them did fall over, but don't worry, they were only Roman candles. They just started spewing horizontally across the road. It was rather terrifying. We were standing there clinging to each other, kind of excited but also kind of terrified. We then had to drive back to our hotel through all of these weird streets on the wrong side of the road with fireworks just landing in front of us. Yeah, it made for a very nerve-wracking start to 2016. But 2016 was meant to be about realising some big dreams. And you remember when I told Emma the news about this holiday? On the card there was a little picture of horses and carriages. Well, it turned out that was the first dream we got to see realised.
But they were smelly.
They were really smelly.
They were a bit smelly.
So you get your horsey ride after all.
I hope they don't poop.
It was very close to the exhaust.
The first castle we visited by horse was Schwangau, which is where King Ludwig II spent his youth. We weren't allowed to do any recording inside the castle, but we did manage to catch Emma's reaction as she left.
And how'd you feel?
Nice.
How nice?
That's nice.
Lots of nice.
I really wish my nanny Jane could have seen this. I'll hope I can find her something nice.
Shall we go to the gift shop then?
Yes.
Nice.
And then we went back the next day to visit Neuschwanstein, which is the really famous castle that King Ludwig actually built and that Emma has wanted to visit since when? Since she was an embryo. For those of you who don't know much about King Ludwig II and Castle Neuschwanstein, when you look at it, it looks quite medieval, sort of from the time of King Arthur, but actually, it's really recent. King Ludwig himself was around in the late 19th century, so just a few years before the First World War, really. But he was the king who actually signed away the powers of the Bavarian kings to the King of Prussia, who became emperor of this new country of Germany. So having lost all of his real power, Ludwig kind of got really depressed and he retreated from the public eye a bit, but instead of just, going off and becoming a wreck, he actually decided to start building castles. Neuschwanstein is of course the most famous of these. It's the one that Walt Disney was rumoured to have visited when he was a little boy and which inspired him to create the Sleeping Beauty castle, made famous by Disneylands all over the world.
Really?
Well, that's what it said in the tour guide. Of course, all this stuff that we've been talking about, we still can't show you because we weren't allowed to take cameras in there. While this was going on, though, something slightly more disastrous was happening back at home. We had left a key with a friend to go and feed Tito while we were away.
I'd given him the wrong key.
Yeah, the key was to Emma's parents' house in a different county, in fact. On the plus side, those same parents did happen to have a key to our place and were very willing to go over and give Tito his food for the next 24 hours. Also, drop off our key with our friend to go and feed him for the rest of our stay. So we have some pretty big thanks to...
We're very grateful to all three of them,
to
aren't we?
all three of them, yes.
Tito might not be very happy with us when we get back.
But he'll cheer up, I'm sure, when he sees that we've got a new t-shirt for him to claw. So it seemed that our 2016 had started with some really nerve-wracking experiences, some really smelly experiences, and also the potential cat-starving disaster. But in the middle of all of this, of course, we'd had some fantastic scenery to look around, and Tito had had even more friends coming around to visit him and give him cuddles. And it makes me think actually that our first lesson of 2016 is actually a lesson from King Ludwig himself, because when his life was going all pear-shaped, he decided he was going to actually do something big with his life, and he built castles. So yeah, what Ludwig did was basically create fun and enjoyment for loads and loads of, millions of people after him. And that, I think, is a very important thing to take into 2016. That if things do start to look a little bit scary, you can just keep your cool and try to just get the best out of them. Sort of build your own metaphorical castle. So that's what we're going to do for 2016. We are going to see just how many metaphorical castles we can build.
I like that.
Nice. So thank you very much for sharing this first journey of 2016 with us. Unfortunately, we weren't able to gather any public gratitudes like I planned to, because as you can probably tell, Emma has been feeling rather poorly. Nice. So quite a bit of this holiday has been spent having to look after her and make sure that she can really enjoy this trip that she's been looking forward to for so long. But we have some very exciting news to share with you when we get back, which I think is going to help the Graticast get even bigger and better over the next year. So thank you for sticking with us this far, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Encourage all of your friends to subscribe too and help us raise money to fight myalgic encephalomyelitis. And yeah, let's make 2016 a big one.
So thank you for watching.
Before we leave you though, one last thing. If you're worried about trying something new, just remember, by worrying about something new, you're already kind of doing something new, so you're on a roll. You might as well just get on and do that new thing.
Stay thankful.
And tschüss for Noosh.